FNaF World, a game that has been on the main source for a lot of challenge videos over the past month. If you don't know what FNaF World is, it's basically an RPG featuring your favorite FNaF characters. What if I told you there was a fan game that nobody has made a challenge video on before? Welcome to FNaF World Simulator. FNaF World Simulator follows the same premise as the original FNaF World, except being the fact that you were able to play as the enemies you usually fight in FNaF World instead of the animatronics, with a unique story and several routes you can take to complete the game. The game, when playing regularly, is kind of easy. But what if we tried to beat the game with only the starting characters? I got this idea from the Dapper Waffles FNaF World Refreshed Starter Only video, which is pretty awesome. You should definitely go check it out. Today, we're going to be answering the question, can you beat FNaF World Simulator with only starting characters? Upon starting the game, we find ourselves conversating with Fredbear. His purpose is basically telling us how to play the game. We're going to skip this though, since it's not really relevant to the challenge. After completing the tutorial with Fredbear, we are tasked to go talk to Red Bear, to which he is located just to the right of where we spawn. He tells us that Freddy beat the game and exclaims that he is pure evil, and that he plans to take over Animatronica, starting with Pinwheel Circus. In short, basically our main objective is to defeat Freddy. Red Bear says we need to find an axe located in Fazbear Hills, that is being guarded by Mr. Chipper somewhere. Once we have the axe, we are told to go find Lolbit, one of the first main bosses in the game, which is guarding a button to allow access to Choppy's Woods. Obviously we get into some fights, leveling up our characters before finding Mr. Chipper. The fight didn't last long, as we get killed almost immediately like a protagonist in a Friday the 13th movie. We fight more enemies until we eventually find an unlockable character, which is called Gold Mine. We defeat him first try, but it's pretty much useless as we're never able to use him without failing the challenge. We move on further, eventually coming across the first boss character we can obtain for our party, Auto Chipper. He then suggests we are insane for going after Freddy and threatens to stop us. To the surprise of absolutely nobody, we beat him first try. After obtaining yet another useless addition to our party members, we re-challenge Mr. Chipper and end up winning on our second try, securing the axe for ourselves. We use the axe to reach Lolbit. Surprisingly, we beat her first try, as she gets a first class meeting to the afterlife. With the feeling of our sins crawling all over us and axe in hand, we progress to Choppy's Woods to where we meet up again with Red Bear. Red Bear takes no time to congratulate us of our success on reaching Choppy's Woods and beating Lolbit, though he does inform us that from here on out, enemies have now become way more stronger in this area. Red Bear swiftly finishes his conversation with us and tells us to meet him at the dead end in Choppy's Woods. Obviously, I didn't listen to him and started gathering chips and getting our characters' levels up in preparation for future boss fights. After leaving Red Bear on read for what feels about 30 to 40 minutes, we eventually meet up with him, as he starts to simply tell us that the path to the next button guardian, DeeDee, is inaccessible. But of course, he has a solution to this. He tells us that there is one more glitched object that wasn't fixed by Freddy when repairing the flip side. How convenient! Upon touching the stump, we enter the glitch world in hopes of trying to reach DeeDee. I'm going to be honest, traversing the glitch world was starting to give me brain damage. I kid you not when I say it took me over 25 minutes to find the right path to DeeDee. Either way, we make our way out of the hell that is the glitch world, and we are eventually met face to face with the Jacko duo, which consists of Jacko Bonnie and Jacko Chica. The Jacko duo were surprisingly a piece of cake, as we beat them on our literal first try. But of course it was too easy, as Jacko Bonnie had a secret second phase where his attacks are way faster and does a lot more damage. Incredible. I will give it to him though, his second phase was pretty rough. He managed to kill me nearly every battle. He killed me over a total of 6 times. But by the skin of my teeth, we managed to pull through and beat Jacko Bonnie on my 7th attempt. Truly insufferable. With Jacko Bonnie out the way, we now had direct access to fight DeeDee and press the button. But when I started the fight, however, the difficulty became really transparent almost immediately. Let me explain. Upon entering the fight with DeeDee, I soon realized she had the worst ability in the game, being able to heal endlessly with no delay. However, there is 2 attacks that can prevent her from making your life a literal clicking sim. The moves Jump Scare and Haunting. These moves prevent DeeDee from healing for a short amount of time. Unfortunately for us, Jump Scare was a literal pile of wet tarmac against DeeDee, lasting to what feels like a few milliseconds every time it's used. And even more unfortunate for us, no other starter character had the moves Jump Scare or Haunting to use against DeeDee. There was only one character that had the move Jump Scare. Crab Apple, one of the characters I have not touched since we actually started this challenge, which means I had spent over an hour leveling this one character up to even have a chance against DeeDee and be able to match my other team members' levels. I do have a feeling this won't be the last time we'll have to spend hours grinding for levels. Subtle foreshadowing. After a few hours of what felt like personal torture, having to listen to the battle music on repeat really does drive a man insane. Oh my god, I really don't want to play this anymore. We eventually come around to re-challenging DeeDee. With the help of the auto upgrade chip I obtained from defeating Nightmare Bonnie earlier on in Choppy's Woods. The auto upgrade chip turns all of our characters' moves into stronger variants of themselves, which will give us a lot more of a chance fighting stronger bosses later in the game. We eventually finish up the fight, turning DeeDee to nothing but dust in our first attempt, allowing us to press the button to unlock Dusting Fields. Upon reaching Dusting Fields, we meet up again with Red Bear. He yet again congratulates us for beating DeeDee. He takes no time to inform us on our next objective, which is defeating the next button guardian in the middle of Dusting Fields, Mendo, which he says Mendo is directly ahead of where we were standing, allowing us to go and directly fight him. But it's never that easy, is it? We learn that somehow the path to Mendo is seemingly endless, never actually being able to reach him through the hallway. Of course, there is a workaround we can get from heading to the mysterious mine. We learn that we need to get a special key which is located at the end of the mysterious mine to reach Mendo. For heading to the mysterious mine, we want to obtain a certain chip that will make nearly every single battle a walk in the park. The only problem, it's being held by Springtrap. Springtrap has the attack called Bite 2, which does around 91 to 100 damage per use, meaning he would literally turn us into mincemeat in a matter of seconds. You may have already guessed it, but to even have the slightest chance of beating Springtrap with the weakest characters in the game, we had to do a lot more grinding to get our characters' levels higher. To which, quite frankly, I could not be bothered, so I simply disregarded Springtrap and headed straight for the mysterious mines. Upon entering, we eventually figured out that it is extremely dark, carrying over to every battle, the lights flickering every now and again, making it really hard to press the attack buttons, but it's still very manageable. After exploring the area for a little bit, I managed to find Chipper's Revenge hiding at the top of the mine, supposedly one of the hardest fights in the game. We beat him first try. After giving Chipper a run for his money, we progress further into the mine and come across Whifford Foxy guarding the exit to the mine. Of course, I thought this was going to be a cakewalk. Oh, how wrong I was. It turns out Foxy didn't accept the absolute whooping I gave him back in Fazbear Hills, bringing his friends to assist in defeating us, which were Funtime Foxy and Nightmare Foxy. This wouldn't usually be a problem, but Funtime Foxy had an attack called Gift Boxes, which works a little differently in this game compared to FNaF World. Usually, Gift Boxes revives every dead team member or prevents a team member from dying when used, but in the case of this game, Gift Boxes prevents us from healing for 4 turns. The only way to get rid of them is to use healing moves like Cupcake or Happy Jam. Of course, with only starting characters, we only had access to Cupcake, one of the worst healing items in the game. And what was even worse, that Nightmare Foxy had a move called Hot Cheese 2, which did mild damage over time, but can quickly kill a party without healing. So in short, we took an absolute beating. In this fight, I died over a total of 20 times. Safe to say, I was slowly losing my goddamn mind. I swiftly left the mysterious mines, going to re-challenge Springtrap to get that sweet succulent enemy's low defense chip. And to my surprise, we actually beat him on our first try this time. But of course it wasn't over, as Purple Guy was hiding inside of Springtrap this whole time. Lovely. Though, Springtrap's second phase, shockingly, wasn't as hard as first, as we managed to win the fight on our first attempt, with only losing 3 party members. We had finally got our grubby little hands on the chip that would make our life a whole lot easier, especially for the Mendo fight. With my motivation now fully restored, I head back to the mysterious mines to re-challenge Foxy one last time. Thankfully this time, we beat him on our second attempt, to which he kindly hands us the most useless chip in the game. Thanks Foxy. Finally being able to progress, we meet up again with Red Bear just outside the mines. He tells us that this place is scattered with traps, which are indicated by the red markings on the floor, and to be avoided at all costs. Unfortunately for us, this place is covered in slippery ice, making it really easy to touch the circles accidentally by a pixel. If we do end up touching the red circles, a powerful ice owl will start to attack us. It's basically the security owl but in heavy amounts of methamphetamine. To progress further, we are told that we need to press several colored buttons, or well, we can't progress at all. There is 3 sections with 4 buttons in each of them, red, blue, and green. Once we finish pressing the buttons, we see Nightmarion guarding the blue key to reach Mendo. Or being able to fight Nightmarion, however, Red Bear informs us that Nightmarion has a devastating attack called Fourth Wall, which could kill us pretty much instantly. Fortunately, we had obtained a chip called Block Fourth Wall in Choppy's Woods, rendering the attack completely useless. The unfortunate thing is that Nightmarion spams the attack called Balloons, which when in bulk amounts, does a fuck ton of damage. Thankfully we beat him on our third attempt. We now had access to the Glacier Key, which now grants the ability for us to reach Mendo. But before fighting Mendo, we meet up with Red Bear again just before Mendo. Red Bear simply just says that Mendo is completely invincible, having a secret 4th Endo upgrade that allows us to do absolutely 0 damage to him. But of course, with every problem comes a solution. With the help of the enemy's low defense chip and the use of Rainy Day, we can lower Mendo's defense to be able to damage him. The bad news is that Mendo has a really strong attack called Bad Pizza, doing over 100 damage to all of our party members when used, and it has poison damage, so that's fun. It's safe to say that we died a lot, 9 times to be exact. I'm going to be honest, I was really close to giving up. I just couldn't lower Mendo's defense fast enough before he eventually killed all my team members. I really did not know what to do, but then something told me of a legend that allows us to skip the Mendo fight entirely. Unfortunate for us, since we had already killed the previous 2 button guardians, this legend will stop showing up right after killing DeeDee, which means I had to start right from the beginning. Now obviously, I wasn't extremely satisfied with having to start straight back from the beginning of the game, but I won't make you guys rewatch us progressing all the way back to Dusting Fields again, and instead I'll just explain to you what I did differently. So in this game, there is actually a pacifist route you can take to avoid killing all 3 button guardians and allowing them to join your team. We can't really do anything with them in our team, however, this allows us to press the buttons almost immediately without having to fight any of the button guardians. In order to carry out the pacifist route, we must find the white rabbit located near the bottom of Fazbear Hills. He will then tell us on a way to spare Lolbit and reach Choppy's Woods. He tasks us to find a clock hidden somewhere around Fazbear Hills, and simply bring it back to him. Upon giving him the clock, he will open a portal to where we find him, allowing us to teleport behind Lolbit, being able to press the button without ever fighting her. Doesn't make the most sense, but it works. We enter Choppy's Woods and see Lolbit waiting for us at the entrance. She immediately starts to thank us for not killing her, and asks if she can join our team. By design, the game forces her to join our team, but we will never be able to use her regardless. But hey, she gives us the axe needed for Choppy's Woods, making it not even necessary to fight Chipper. We are now tasked to find the White Rabbit again in Choppy's Woods, which he is located just below where you can find Funtime Foxy. Upon talking to him again, he quests us on finding the next clock in Choppy's Woods to give us the ability to spare DeeDee and press the button. As much as I wanted to kill this annoying balloon child, I had to spare her in order to spare Mendo. We eventually figure out that the next clock is located in an area inaccessible to us without traveling through the glitch world, and beating the Jacko duo. I'm not going to give you the pleasure of you guys seeing me suffer in Jacko Bonnie's second phase again, but I'll just say that we beat him on our second attempt. We eventually get our hands on the second clock, returning to the White Rabbit, and unlocking the portal to press the button to Dusting Fields. You're welcome, DeeDee. I did not want to do this. Upon teleporting to Dusting Fields, DeeDee is waiting for us at the start. DeeDee hesitantly tells us thank you for not killing her, and forcefully joins our team alongside Lolbit. Now, we had officially both sped Lolbit and DeeDee, but sparing Mendo is more of a task than just finding a randomly placed clock. We come across the white rabbit hiding near the bottom of dusting fields, blending in with the harsh snow. He tells us that our task will be no easy one. He eventually opens a portal to a usually restricted area. It's a maze which has several mini clocks scattered throughout it. We are tasked to collect all of the clocks in a set time limit to unlock the clock gate. Then we must obtain the pickaxe to reach the next clock. It was a pretty simple task collecting all the clocks. We headed over to the unlocked clock gate and eventually meet up with the paper pals. They tell us that they will not give us the pickaxe without a fight. Of course they wouldn't. However, this fight was a little different, as our vision gets completely taken away. This makes it so we cannot see what character or attacks we are using. It's safe to say I had a really hard time defeating the paper pals because of this. Thankfully we beat them on our 4th try, and get the pickaxe and the clock. We then return the clock to the white rabbit, as he opens the final portal to the button behind Mendo. We could now finally progress to Lily Gear Lake, where Mendo meets us before we entered the area. He forcefully joins our team also. I must admit, it was a nice change of pace not having to spend hours grinding for levels to fight the first 3 button guardians. Oh, and Freddy gives Bonnie a first class ticket to the afterlife. Brutal. Red Bear was waiting for us outside of Lily Gear Lake. He then again congratulates us on making it past every button guardian. Or, well, so he thought. He informs us that the next button doesn't seem to be guarded by anybody. Maybe it's their day off. We are required to swim through the water instead of using a lily pad. How does Bounce Pot even swim? I don't know. Don't ask me about the game's logic. At the start of Lily Gear Lake, we can come across Pork Patch hiding behind lily pads to the right of where we enter. Thankfully, we didn't have to fight him, as he just joined our team. He is pretty useless though. Sorry, Pork Patch. The White Rabbit does spawn in Lily Gear Lake, for those wondering, but he tells us that the 4th Guardian doesn't require sparing, and instead informs us to head to the Geist Lair, so we simply just ignore the rest of his questline. Progressing further into Lily Gear Lake, we can find Scott Coffin and Sea Goon. Another set of 2 characters we will never be able to use, but still cool to have, I guess. Not far from Scott, we come across Nightmare Balloon Boy, preventing our progression towards the next button to access Black Tomb Yard. This fight was really tough to say the least, due to Nightmare Balloon Boy's fatal balloons and megabyte attack, especially since he attacks really fast, not allowing us to even do half of his health bar. Thankfully, we put Balloon Boy's raft to rest on our 8th attempt. We now had direct access to the next button. We just had to go across the side of Dusting Fields to where we meet up with Fredbear. Wait, Fredbear? Fredbear congratulates us for taking out Nightmare Balloon Boy, but then brings us the news that we cannot go on with our quest to defeat Freddy. Obviously we ignore his request as we have come too far to quit now, but then we come across Red Bear? He tells us that we should listen to what Fredbear said to us previously, saying we should stop our quest for our own good. This is a little odd, considering he's been motivating us for the entire run, until he eventually reveals to us that Freddy is straight ahead of us, telling us that we will immediately die if we continue on our path. We disregard his warnings, heading up further the path and coming across Freddy himself. He tells us that he is about to give us the same treatment Bonnie and Chica had gotten earlier, but we didn't seem to have any intentions of running away. It is eventually revealed that this isn't actually Freddy, but instead Virtual Freddy pretending to be him this entire time. With the feeling of defeat, he says he will allow us to press the button to Black Tomb Yard, which was in the same area that we passed earlier. We head through a portal that leads us directly to the button, almost immediately pressing it, to which turns out to be another trap set up by Virtual Freddy. Thanks dude, totally wasn't expecting that. Virtual Freddy taunts us for falling for his trap. I mean, to be fair, it was pretty effective. We had no way of getting out of there after all. Then the real Fredbear just surprisingly comes out of nowhere, interrupting Virtual Freddy's pointless monologue, explaining to him that he's causing so much harm to Animatronica. There wasn't much important dialogue than random lore drops to Virtual Freddy's original purpose. Virtual Freddy then teleports Fredbear and himself to a dimension between worlds, which Virtual Freddy states that he will give Fredbear the honor of killing him himself. Then, the realization of this cutscene became way more clear. We weren't fighting as our own characters, no. We were fighting as Fredbear, statistically making this our first failure of the challenge. There was no way to skip this fight. I tried several different methods to try and get past this fight, but it was just not possible to do, as it was completely hard-coded into the game, which unfortunately means this challenge is officially done. Yep, video's over. Okay, maybe it's still possible to beat the game using the starting cast after this hard-coded fight. We beat Virtual Freddy first try using Fredbear. As we return back to Dusting Fields, and Virtual Freddy allows us to press the button to Black Tomb Yard. Upon entering Black Tomb Yard, we are immediately met with Red Bear again. We are told that the next button guardians are none other than the Toy Animatronics. Before heading towards them, Red Bear also had something very important to tell us.
Bounce spot. Toy Chicken's OnlyFans password is in Black Tomb Yard somewhere. Find it. Bounce spot. Bye. You need it to defeat Freddy. Bounce spot.
Red Bear's side quest was certainly odd. I didn't know he was capable of being down bad that way. I guess we have something in common after all. Anyway, we learned the Toy Animatronics have several flashlights blocking the path to reach them, each of them being colored to match the Toy Animatronics. Upon being spotted by the flashlights, we are immediately sent to the game over screen. To avoid the first set of flashlights, we are required to plant a Balloon Boy plush to fool the flashlights to eventually reach the Toy Animatronic. But then, we soon learn that beating the Toy Animatronics is, well, downright impossible, as Toy Bonnie has a move called Happy Jam 2, which allows the Toy Animatronics to heal endlessly, rendering our attacks useless in every single attempt. However, as every other problem, there was a way to prevent Toy Bonnie from using this move entirely: gift boxes. This fight was designed to have stronger characters, and we just didn't have access to those characters without failing the challenge. But technically we had already failed the challenge upon using Fredbear by force when fighting Virtual Freddy. I kid you not when I say I have accounted over 51 deaths in this one fight alone, finally beating the fight after 3 hours and 52 attempts later. Unfortunately, we had to use some non-starting characters to beat this fight, as it was basically required. But either way, we eventually had access to the final button to unlock Freddy's Land. At the exterior of Freddy's Land, we meet up with Red Bear for one final time. He tells us that we will not find any animatronics in Freddy's Land, and this is where Freddy will be waiting for us. We learn that there is 3 different areas of Freddy's Land, each having a button we need to press before being able to face Freddy himself. Red Bear tells us that he will finally be joining our team. We learn that the Deskman is the reason Freddy is practically unbeatable. Freddy had confronted Deskman in his own home, forcing him to create an attack that could instantly wipe out an entire team called Ultra Blaster. Quite frankly, we tell Deskman that we weren't here for a sob story, and we just wanted to beat the game. Deskman gives us a chip that completely defects Freddy's Ultra Blaster attack, which is basically necessary for the Freddy fight. Freddy also brings Bonnie and Chica back to life, and orders them to guard the 3 buttons in the 3 different areas of Freddy's Land. I entered the tent in the middle, which contains the button guarded by Chica. We learn that we have a limited amount of lives to reach each button guardian in Freddy's Land. Upon entering Chica's area, we are met with a labyrinth of tents that spew out fireballs, with multiple stumps blocking our path. Thankfully we had an axe, right? We eventually reached the first button, to which Chica is guarding. On entering the fight with Chica, I learned that she has a special type of mimic ball, which damages us every time we use an attack on her. And she also has the move Poppers, which has a lot of damage when it's used in bulk, basically wiping out an entire team in a matter of seconds. Every time we fought Chica, I got so close to beating her, but the starting characters physically didn't do enough damage to deal the finishing blow. I regrettably equipped the team that I used to defeat the Toy Animatronics and headed over into the tent on the right, which is similar to Chica's section, except we are tasked to traverse through several purple tents to gather 10 purple keys, which is needed to reach Bonnie, which is guarding this area's button. After a few minutes of entering random tents, we find the one that leads to Bonnie. It's safe to say, this fight was possibly the most brain-numbing fight of this entire game. The fight with Bonnie was similar to the Toy Animatronics, as Bonnie spammed the move Happy Jam 2, rendering our attacks the equivalent to poking someone with a needle repeatedly, and the fact Bonnie had a devastating bite attack that did over 100 damage, to which she also spams and mixed with Happy Jam 2, which means we needed a healing move better than the one we currently have, which is Cupcake. But instead of being in a state of limbo repeating the fight over and over again with no success, I instead decided to head back to Chica, and surprisingly beat her on my first attempt. We now had 1 out of the 3 buttons needed to reach Freddy. Now we only need to defeat Foxy and Bonnie. Foxy's area was a little different to Chica's and Bonnie's, as we had to traverse a lava-filled area with moving platforms. It'd be a lie if I said I wasn't having an existential crisis while trying to reach Foxy. Either way, I eventually traverse the lava pool successfully and begin the fight with Foxy. Unlike the two other button guardians, Foxy's fight was actually the easiest fight in the entire game, as we beat him on our second attempt. We had pressed 2 out of the 3 buttons needed to reach Freddy, only having Bonnie's button left. I was really not looking forward to this fight. Bonnie was quite literally the doomslayer of FNaF World Simulator. Even one mistake could result in us losing the fight, which happened a lot, but by some miracle, and waves of Happy Jam 2 flooding our screen, we managed to beat Bonnie on our 73rd attempt with no characters dead, giving us access to the final button and be able to reach Freddy. We head back into the middle tent of Freddy's land, being met with Bonnie, Chica, and Foxy blocking our way to Freddy. Short into the conversation, we learn that they had hijacked the security owl to have one final attempt to defeat us. But we beat them easily on our second attempt. After winning the fight, Security Owl joins our team and we head straight into the tent Freddy is hiding in. Obviously I equipped the Block Ultra Blaster chip to avoid us being reduced to atoms. The Freddy fight was nothing special, because this fight was actually never designed to be beaten. We just had to survive while the other animatronics attacked Freddy alongside us, until the tent eventually lights ablaze, rendering us officially beating the game. Now, let's answer the question. Can you beat FNaF World Simulator with only the starting characters? Well, in short, no, you can't. Even in the off chance we are able to defeat the Toy Animatronics and Bonnie without the use of gift boxes, the one fight with Virtual Freddy forcing us to use Red Bear prevents us from beating the challenge correctly. So unfortunately, this challenge is impossible, and never will be possible. Thank you all for watching, and going on this journey with me. If you enjoyed this video, consider subscribing and liking, as I worked really hard to get this video out to you guys. And this is my first video, so thank you, and I will see you all in the next one. Have a great day.